remember, most of the vaccinations you had them as kids, and as time goes by, the effects of these vaccines begin to decrease. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl SoftlifeDoc. I make medical videos, I also make food vlogs, and I also talk about my life sometimes in between. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're an oldie, also welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, comment, share with everyone you think should be watching my videos too. Thank you for joining me. In today's video, I will be talking about the topic vaccination, but vaccination for adults. Vaccination for adults, guys. Some of you might know it as immunization. It is not something for just kids. Adults also need vaccination. We never actually outgrow the need to get immunized. A good example would be the coronavirus. Like most people became more aware about the need to get vaccination and the importance of getting vaccinated. Where do we begin, guys? Let's begin with what vaccines are. What's the definition of a vaccine? Vaccines are made from tiny amounts of dead or weakened germs called microbes or microorganisms, whichever way we know it as, and this helps the body learn how to protect itself from the diseases that can be formed from these microorganisms by building antibodies or creating an immune memory about these organisms. You might wonder, if you're giving the body germs, how come we're not getting infections from that? The way the body works, when you give these germs, remember I said weakened or dead germs, the body now recognizes what the microbes look like. So in future, when the body is exposed to such an organism, it recognizes that okay, I've created antibodies against this organism in the past, so now I can fight against this. So often, after giving someone a vaccine, the body remembers that I've had this in the past, and for the rest of your life, that one vaccine can sustain you. But for some vaccines, you need to get something called a booster shot. The immunity to such a disease needs to be reinforced. That's why you need to get a booster shot. One thing to know is getting a vaccine not only protects you, it also protects the people around you. Let's take a community as an example. If most of the people in a community get vaccinated against a particular disease, the possibility of having an outbreak against that disease greatly reduces. Now, let's use something as an example. Let's take chickenpox as an example. Most kids have chickenpox growing up. It's an infection seen commonly in children, and most people believe that if you've had chickenpox as a child, you're never gonna get it again. Wrong. The virus stays latent in the body, meaning it's inactive, and due to whatever reason, if your immune system gets compromised or you have a chronic disease that affects your immune system, you could have a reactivation of the chickenpox virus, and now it's called shingles, guys. So imagine you have kids around you that haven't been vaccinated against the chickenpox virus. Don't you think they'll get infected? Don't you think you're exposing the poor kids to the virus? That's the reason why it's important for us to get vaccinated, because we're not only protecting ourselves, we're also protecting the kids and the adults around us, basically. I'm sure the next question some of you would ask me would be, are vaccines safe? Yes, they are safe. There are a lot of arguments concerning this. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm just gonna say they are safe. Before a vaccine is put out there, or before a vaccine is given to anyone, it must have gone through a series of tests. They must have done researches upon researches, and they must have tested and tested and tested before they give it to people. And they would have proven that this vaccine is indeed safe for us to give to people before it is put out there, guys. Sure, nothing is like 100% safe. I'm not saying there are no side effects. There are side effects. But when you compare the side effects of the vaccine to the damages the disease itself, the infection itself might cause, I'd say the side effects are a bit minor, like when you compare it, because you can actually die from the disease itself. Using COVID as an example, we all saw that like that was a pandemic, guys. A lot of people died from that, and that's such a good example, because most people feel like, oh yeah, when did they make this vaccine? We never knew about that. And don't forget, guys, most vaccine preventable diseases have no cure. So when you compare the side effects or adverse effects of the vaccine to a disease you're not even sure you might get cured of, I'd say pick the side effects of the vaccine over the disease itself. Got it? Bringing us to our topic, as adults, why do we need to get vaccinated? So most of the vaccinations that we probably got them as kids. I remember getting vaccinations as a child when I was in school, or they would come to our churches or just around, but as a kid basically. And most of these vaccines that we got then, the effects kind of decrease after a while, and that's why we need to get like booster shots. And I'm sure most of us don't even know we need to get some vaccines as adults, right? And also, some adults may have missed some shots. For example, myself, I never had chickenpox as a kid. Surprisingly, I don't know how. And the most shocking part is I never got the vaccine either, and I just realized that as an adult. I couldn't really remember if I had chickenpox, but I just felt like maybe I was too little to remember. Anyways, I must have had it because almost everybody around me had it. But when I did my blood test, I realized I had no antibodies against chickenpox, so I never had it, and I didn't get a vaccine against it, surprisingly. So some of you might be like me, you probably have missed some vaccines, so you need to go to the closest health center to you or a medical practitioner to like sort it out and just get your missed vaccines administered to you. And remember, most of the vaccinations you had them as kids.